afternoon, everybody. It's Jim. It's Amadeus, and it's Tuesday. And Amadeus, other than the Texas Rangers, there were some surprises last night in both the NFL and Major League Baseball.
Yeah, we saw the 49ers drop another game to the Vikings. We also watched the good old Diamondbacks win a game in the row. That was the first home game that Philly lost. So, or
Well,
in the playoffs at least.
yeah. And the Rangers basically replicated the 2019 Nationals as the only team to win all their games on the road. And interesting stat, um, Bruce Bochy as a manager is now 6-0 in elimination games.
There you go.
That, my friends, is what you call money. Now, you know, I thought that we had said if they'd be in good shape if Max could just get them through the third inning, and he didn't quite get that far. But uh, I don't think Texas needed him. Corey
It
Seager,
didn't seem to matter.
yeah, Corey Seager hit a ball that I think would have gone out of the stadium had there not been, a wall there. And I mean, he just muscled up on in the first inning, and they were off and running, and the Astros were down down the ways. But Texas came out, and they definitely looked good, and once again, now the another one of those interesting but you know nonsensical type stats was that the Houston Astros became the first team in Major League Baseball to finish the season in the playoffs with a losing record at home.
Yeah. Well, they had a losing record during the regular season.
Hmm.
They lost all four home games of that
Yep.
series to the Rangers. So yeah, this was
Hmm.
something we talked about, how the Astros had struggled at home surprisingly all year, and sure enough, that's what came back to bite them, because they even won three straight on the road, took the
Hmm.
lead in the series in Arlington against Texas, and
Yeah.
yeah, sure enough, couldn't close it out in two games when they came back home.
Which you would think, right, is a bit weird because that stadium is a bandbox. I mean, that is not, those Crawford boxes which hang out over basically over the field. If you can get the ball high enough, the Crawford boxes are your, the easy way to a cheap home run. And, you know, it's just one of those things where you sit back and go, how is it possible? You know, I can see that sometimes you have trouble on home, but I mean, normally it's not not an issue. But to have a losing record in the regular season and then in the playoffs at home, it's just weird. And but then again, it's the Houston Astros, so we should not be surprised. Anything is weird with that group. Anyway, Philadelphia, we know that. I think what happened there, and good on the Diamondbacks, is they took the crowd out of the game early,
Yeah, they
and
got up to a pretty early lead in that game.
right, and so they couldn't get the Phils couldn't get back on stride, and so tonight's going to be, and they beat up on Aaron Nola, which was interesting because Nola had also been money this thus far in the playoffs. So you do what you got to do, right?
Yeah, and definitely going back to the Houston thing, there's something
Hmm.
weird's going on over there, because obviously they had the poor performance at home all year. Then you
Right,
had Dusty Baker step down as manager last night after they lost.
right.
So something going on in Houston. I mean, Dusty Baker he was only there 2 years, so it's a little weird that he would just step down like
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, Dusty, Dusty, when he was with the Nationals, Dusty stepped down after leading them to the best record in baseball, and obviously the playoffs, but they were eliminated in the first round, and he stepped down after that. So Dusty's walked off of some situations where, his teams have won their division, and normally you don't see guys, win a division and then walk away. But I think Dusty's 75 or 76, something like that. And so, maybe he just decided that, I've had enough.
Yeah, maybe. And then 2 years from now, he'll be managing some other team
Right?
for
Yeah.
for another 2 year stint.
Right. Um, and then you look at Bruce Bochy, right? And Bruce, uh, I know from my many years of watching Max that he didn't really want to come out of that game. But the last, you could see him looking at Bruce like, "Well, you can't be serious." But uh, the respect that Bruce has gotten from his players, when he got to the mound, there wasn't any showmanship on Max's part. It was like, okay, Skipper, you want the ball? Here you go, whatever you want. And he came off the mound. But Texas will live to see another day, and they're headed for the World Series. Uh, Interestingly enough, if Texas gets in there, from standpoint of the wins a World Series, that would be the first they've ever won. And the Phillies, won against Tampa Bay. I think it was 2008. But the Phillies have not been in. I mean, considering how old the Phillies organization is, we're going back to the 1800s with that team. They haven't made the playoffs all that many times for a team that's been around as long as they have, and they've only won, I believe, one or two World Series in that entire, time. And again, that we're talking about a team that was started in the 1800s. So the irony is that we now know, we're going to wait to see what happens with the Oakland A's, but the Philadelphia A's were actually around longer than the Philadelphia Phillies.
There you go. Well, we'll
Before
we'll
the
we'll see.
Yeah, but before the A's moved to Kansas City, then they moved from Kansas City to Oakland, and then of course the Kansas City Royals took the place of the Kansas City Athletics. So there
Yeah.
you
So
go.
as you said, long time franchise. We'll see if they can get it done tonight. Then I believe that
Yeah,
game's tonight,
because
right?
look, Arizona, we already know Arizona, and the Yankees had that battle for the World Championship back right after 9/11. So it's going to be interesting. That's for darn sure. So we'll see how
Well,
that goes. Now,
definitely won't be a repeat of last year. That's for sure.
no, we absolutely not. And we have that football game last night where I don't think either one of us would have thought that that Kirk Cousins would have been the quarterback that came out of that game, with the better result. And somehow, some way, Kirk got it done last night.
Yeah, there you go. 3-10 in Monday night games now for Kirk
Right,
Cousins in his career. So
right.
solid job there. But yeah, I mean they came out. It was funny because that game could have got away from them very quickly
Oh
when
yeah.
he threw the interception, and then the fumble on the goal line really is what
Hmm.
set the 49ers back. And then they also had that late play in the first half where
Hmm.
the guy thought he had an interception again on Addison, and Addison just took it right back from him out of his
You're right.
hands. So that those two plays, I think the fumble near the goal line and that big breakaway touchdown that put him up by two scores going into
Yeah.
halftime, I think those were two big key plays for sure in the game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the other thing is, for some reason, San Francisco just didn't look like they looked like they were out of sorts. They just weren't playing at the level that we're used to seeing them play. And you know, whether that was their own doing, or whether it was the fact that things were off from standpoint that Minnesota outplayed them. It's weird from a standpoint, and I've talked to players and coaches who play Monday night games, and there's something about the game that the whole getting ready for Monday night that is so disconcerting for players, and because some teams have had tremendous success on Monday night. I think Dallas might have the best record of Monday night. Of course, they probably played more than anybody else Monday night, so that might be the reason. But no, there's been teams that have tremendous success on Monday nights, while others have had terrible success on Monday night. So
Yeah, well, as you said, the Cowboys were one team. Kirk Cousins. The proof is in the pudding. Three and
yeah,
10 on Monday nights. So,
hmm
and I'm sure it's the same with Thursday night games as well,
oh
on
yeah,
the short week there. So, definitely, I think football is probably one sport where the day of the week matters. Like sometimes you get
hmm
these stats in hockey and basketball where it's like
hmm
the New Jersey Devils are 12-2 on a Sunday afternoon, right? And that's it's fine, but I think it's pretty irrelevant except for in football because obviously
hmm
the rest factor is a real thing. You play once a
yeah,
week. It's very similar in the sense to soccer where if
hmm
you have to play extra matches midweek, that affects the team.
hmm
So same with football. Even though you're not playing, you're never going to play two games in the same week. If you have to play on
right,
Thursday for Sunday, 100%, obviously that,
hmm
and we see it all the time. They'll have like the full practice on Monday or whatever. They'll
right,
have lighter practice Tuesday, and then Wednesday's a day off, or even like a walkthrough, and then
hmm
you get the game. So 100%. It would be interesting to see actually which teams perform well. Maybe I'll do a deep dive into that. Come back with some stats for a later show. See what teams have been historically performing well on Monday nights and which ones have not.
well, that's it's one of the things I love about Ken Palm and his stuff that they do for college basketball. I mean, my God, they have stats on, you know, they're 2-17 on Tuesday nights. They're 3-18 on Wednesday nights. They've got a winning record on Thursday nights. You're like, good God, where's the deep dive they do into their statistics is just pretty amazing. So you know,
Yeah.
it's uh, it's pretty wild. But no, you're right with regard to the soccer and football having uh, those those interesting stats about. I mean, you're so used to uh, a practice regimen, right? And then all of a sudden, that practice is no longer there, and you're like, okay, where do we go from here? And so it is, and then you've got different travel days. You travel on Sunday instead of playing on Sunday. Um, if you're going from to play a Monday night game, and San Francisco, of course, coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. Traditionally, teams coming from the West Coast to the East Coast, do poorly, as opposed to, the other way. Teams going from east to west, seems to do better than that. So I don't know, but I think both of us were a bit surprised that the Niners just didn't get the job done against a Vikings team, who clearly they're better than.
Yep, definitely. But that's the NFL. The better team's not going to win every game. So it's all
Right.
about how are the 49ers going to respond next week, and how do the Vikings hold up now that they've strung two wins together?
I know. Break up the Vikings. They're ready to rock and roll. I don't know. I can tell you it's going to be really wild. That's darn sure. Um, I don't know. I think the 49ers will be okay. I think they're not there shouldn't be panic in San Francisco at this point.
Yeah, I'm definitely not panicking. Obviously, missing Debo Samuel didn't help. It's very clear how he can really stretch a defense horizontally. Obviously, a lot
hmm
of teams have guys that can stretch the defense vertically, but I think that's what makes the 49ers offense so tough to stop. Between McCaffrey and Samuel, when they're both in the game, they can stretch you both ways, horizontally
hmm
and vertically, that it's very tough to defend. But honestly, I'm more disappointed in what I saw from the defense of the 49ers last night. They were letting the Vikings run right through them. Even their passing defense, which is supposed to be, more of a strength for the 49ers, they were just leaving guys open in the pockets of the zone. So it was not a good defense. I'm looking to see how the 49ers respond defensively next week for sure. I
Mhm.
know everybody's ready to hit the panic button on Brock Purdy. That's all the headlines I've seen, that Brock Purdy is turning into the pumpkin now and all these things. But personally, I'm not worried, because Brock Purdy is he's confident and he's a game manager, and he understands the offense. He fits well in the offense. So I think he'll be fine. You got to remember that was back-to-back road games as well for the
Mhm.
49ers. I'm definitely, if we're talking about concerns from what we saw last night, I'm more concerned on the defensive side for the 49ers, and I need to see them respond much better with their defense this week.
I understood. And the other thing that that you've got, and I mean, you're 100% right on that with regards to. I don't think Brock Purdy's in any problems. And look, he's got the quarterback guru and Kyle Shanahan with him, so I don't think that's. I wouldn't concern myself if I'm a 49ers fan there. And he didn't play poorly last night. I mean, yeah, he had 2 picks, but I think a lot of that, as you said, if you're losing Debo Samuel and you've got other receivers in there, people sometimes those picks are sometimes not the quarterback's fault. Sometimes the guy runs the wrong route. Sometimes he breaks it off early. That sort of thing. And so we'll have to see how that is. Now we are today on the 24th day of the month, so it's not that long, a little over a week, and we'll have the NFL trade deadline, which shows up on the 31st of October. Right now, this shouldn't surprise no one that Jerry Jones told Yahoo Sports that they're going to look to upgrade. I'm not sure what he's looking to upgrade, but he's looking to upgrade
Yeah,
with Dallas.
specifically what position? Okay, I'm sure
Yeah,
I'm sure every team could use an upgrade somewhere.
yeah. So
Where,
it's like,
where are you deciding on to upgrade the team?
but in all my years of knowing Jerry Jones, when he just says upgrade, it could be anybody. So no one is safe in that scenario. But a lot of people seem to think that the trade deadlines, that Derrick Henry may be headed somewhere. We talked about that. The Chiefs may be grabbing a wide receiver someplace. All that is certainly possible, but I don't know that. Do you think? I mean, do you honestly think that the Chiefs? I'm sorry, the Ravens would? I mean, they'd have to give away a small fortune to get Derrick Henry, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I don't know if they necessarily need Derrick Henry. I don't know if that would be the best move. It's funny because I actually did see some headlines on Bleacher Report this morning,
Hmm.
and it was a Titans player, but it wasn't Derrick Henry specifically that we've been talking about. It was the one that I said would be ridiculous to trade him away first, but I guess because of the Tannehill injury, he's already disgruntled. But I saw
Hmm.
that Bleacher Report was already putting together what if trade packages for DeAndre Hopkins, what the Titans could get for him.
Hmm. That's interesting. Um,
Yeah.
one of the guys, you're talking about the 49ers in defense. There's a guy that right at the moment is playing for Carolina, and that's Dante Jackson. I wouldn't be surprised um, if he were someone that they could probably get with a second or a third round draft choice, maybe even less than that.
Yeah, I mean that would be a great addition to an already great defense. I don't know. I don't know if they need more players. Really, I think it's just because they were fine up until last night. I didn't like what I saw from them, and
Hmm.
I want to see them respond really. Because if this is going to become an ongoing issue, then yeah, they're definitely going to need to fix something on the defensive side. Maybe bringing another player, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure if the 49ers are a team really that need to be trading for people. I think they have a pretty complete roster.
Mm-hmm. Well, one thing that I think, and this one actually makes some sense, that your Arizona Cardinals is shopping Hollywood Brown to Kansas City. That makes sense to me, actually.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense from a need standpoint. That's what the Chiefs need, but I don't know what the Cardinals think they're going to get out of it. They're already, dog crap, and now you want to give away like every last weapon you have and just leave Kyler Murray with nothing. Just trade Kyler Murray away at this point, please. Just if we're going to rebuild, then rebuild with a proper quarterback.
Do it right.
Yeah, don't just trade away all your weapons and leave a bad quarterback, a bad young quarterback with nothing around him because he's already struggling. He already doesn't have the work ethic, and at this point, he's just being set up for even more failure, which is maybe what needs to happen. But this is why the Bidwells need to just sell the team because at this point, the Cardinals franchise is just a circus, and they need a total overhaul of everything. Just fire everybody.
Yeah, fire everybody and let's go from here.
Okay, release every player on the team and just like start signing XFL players to fill the roster.
Right.
Just like change everything. Something we need a transfer portal here where we just trade the whole 53-man roster for a new team.
Well, here's one that's quite interesting. Chase Young, who's an edge rusher for the Washington Commanders, to the Dolphins. That, I think, would be a definite upgrade to help the Dolphins. The Dolphins are hoping to get Jalen Ramsey and Xavier Howard back. That's the back end of their defense, but they do lack that pass rush that they're going to need to if they're going to go deep into the playoffs. They're going to have to put some serious push on that defensive line, and certainly Chase Young would be that guy if they could pull that off.
Well, someone's been listening because we've been saying the Dolphins need help on defense, the Chiefs need wide receivers, and sure enough, the teams are actually going for what they need. So that's good to see. Funny enough, actually, I saw a headline this morning where Micah Parsons said the Kansas City Chiefs are not a top 5 team in the NFL, just like nice. I've been saying. So yeah, I mean, I've been harping on this for weeks now.
Right. Well, it looks like Jalen Mills is the guy who good old our old buddy Jerry Jones might be pulling out to get from New England, and I don't know. He's a cornerback. I don't understand. I mean, I thought Dallas's defense was their strength. I didn't think they needed a corner.
Yeah, maybe depth at this point because they have a bit of injuries. Like obviously Diggs is out for the season, so maybe it's just he's looking to add some depth to that defense because the injuries do. I mean, I think they're healthier now, but at the beginning of the season, those first few games, they were really starting to pile up after like the first 2 or 3 games.
Well, I think that one of the things that the Ravens did expose of Detroit was that they basically have a couple of holes on their defense. And I think that there's been talk, and this again goes to the Carolina Panthers, that maybe they would part with the linebacker Brian Burns. And if Brian were able to get to Detroit, that could certainly be a help on the defensive side of the ball for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean the Lions definitely they do have a pretty good defense actually. I know they got ripped apart by the Ravens, but they've held some other offenses to under 10 points this season. So that might be a good addition for sure for the Lions. The Lions, I think, are definitely going to be in a position to win their division this year, and
Oh yeah.
they'll be a playoff team. So I think now is the time if they're going to go add players to this team to make a Super Bowl run. Yeah, this would be the time. Bulk up that defense. The offense, I mean, is pretty good with Jahmyr Gibbs, and
Mm-hmm.
I love their tight end, Sam Laporta.
Right.
So I think they have definitely some weapons to work with on offense. Maybe they just need to bolster that defense and could make a Super Bowl run. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. Like I said, I wasn't ready to crown the Lions top 5 in the NFL, just like the all the power rankings had them and the Chiefs in the top 5. And sure enough, what we saw from the Lions came back down to earth. They got their nice serving of humble pie, as Dan Campbell put it, when they lost to the Seahawks
Yep.
earlier this year. So again, the Lions are a team we've already seen them respond to that loss, and I'm sure they're definitely gonna get up for their next game. The Chiefs, I'm still waiting on this team there because they're 6-1, but they're a very false 6-1 in my eyes.
Yeah. Well, there's some of that in the NFL now. We do know that Buffalo is having some trade talks with the Minnesota Vikings, and actually for a guy who had a pretty decent night last night, Jordan Hicks, the middle linebacker. So I don't know if Buffalo Bills seem to think Jordan Hicks might be the guy they need to get them over the hump.
Yeah, that's the Bills. Another team with a great defense. I guess looking to add some depth there. Hicks would actually be a great starter on that team.
Mm-hmm.
I believe they have an injury to Matt Milano, right? So it might be
Right.
looking to replace that. He's been a pretty impact player in their first few games. So yeah, I mean that would be another great move for the Bills for sure. Their defense has definitely looked good. If anything, it's their offense that has had a ton of inconsistencies this year, and it probably all boils down to Josh Allen. Really, is a very inconsistent player.
Now we talked about Derrick Henry going to the potentially to the Baltimore Ravens, but there are two other teams that have actually inquired about Derrick Henry. One of them is the official team of the show, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
They need him desperately.
They could use him. That would be a huge upgrade, as well as the Jacksonville Jaguars. Theory of the case there is to take some pressure off of Trevor Lawrence, giving him some running game.
What about his Clemson buddy Travis Etienne there?
I thought personally that Travis Etienne was fine. I wouldn't have.
So did I.
Been looking for a running back. If I were Jacksonville, I'd be looking more on the defensive side of the ball than I would on the offensive side.
Yeah, because they have some great players on defense, but I think just a bunch of them are injured right now.
Yeah, they're banged up.
Like, don't they have Von Miller, and he's injured right now? Yeah.
Yeah. Von looks really good in a Nike sweatsuit on the sidelines, but I think that they gotta get some players on the other side of the off the sidelines and on the field, and I would think defense would be one of the places they look. I don't think that they need Derrick Henry as badly as certainly Tampa Bay needs to have some more running game. That's what probably did them in against that game against Atlanta the other day.
Yeah, see that doesn't make sense to me unless they're actually willing to trade Etienne away.
Right. But why would you do that? Why would you trade a quality running back for a quality running back?
Exactly. And you're trading away, if anything, a younger running back that your quarterback 100%. Has chemistry with from his college days for, maybe you're getting the best running back in the league, but he also is older and has a lot of wear and tear on him and can't have too much time left.
There's a lot of Derrick Henry's, the tires on Derrick Henry are, those wheels are coming off the bus pretty soon.
They've been rotated quite a few times.
Right. So I'm thinking 100% of what you said right there. I agree. I think that you'd be foolish to try. And the other thing that, look, this is no shade on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, between the tackles, Derrick Henry is a beast. Okay, but the one thing that Travis Etienne can do that Derrick Henry can't is he can if you he can hurt you on the edge as well. If he makes it to the edge, he's got the speed to to go down down the field quite a ways. Derrick Henry doesn't play that game. Derrick Henry's a deep between the tackles runner.
Yeah, the other thing is Derrick Henry doesn't catch a lot of passes either. He's not.
No, no,
He's
they,
not a big pass catching back. And Travis Etienne, he definitely has that with him. The only thing you're not getting with Etienne that you are with Henry is you're getting like pretty much a backup quarterback out of him because apparently Derrick Henry has an arm.
yeah, there's that. But I think the biggest thing that you hit on it is the chemistry between Trevor Lawrence and Etienne. I mean, the amount of games that these guys have played together, the amount of practices they've been together. I mean, you just that kind of chemistry is chemistry you look for. If you have it, you don't give it away.
And that was the whole thing. They drafted both of them specifically for that reason. They're like, well, if we're
Yeah,
gonna take Trevor, we got to take ETN in the draft
right,
too.
right. And I mean, they were, like two kids in a candy store whenever that happened. So I don't think that you want to screw up chemistry like that. Um, for again, there's my guess is that Derrick Henry probably has 2, maybe 3 years left in him as far as being, an elite back.
Yeah,
He's
that's
coming. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no. I was just gonna say that's what I was saying with the shelf life earlier.
Well, I mean, if you look at the amount of running he's done over the past 3 years, he reminds me almost of Emmett Smith when Emmett was coming to the end of his career. And that was, you know, he 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 could you could maybe get 5 or 6, touches out of him where he looked like Emmett Smith. Then any other touch out of him, he looked like just your average running back. And I think that, the amount of wear and tear that's been put on Derrick Henry, whoever gets him will have a fine running back for, a couple more years, but then, you know, that's gonna start to fall off. The running back position, which we've, you know, has been and underappreciated for some people. But I've had a number of scouts who would tell me, I'd say, what about, this kid or what about that kid, coming out of the draft? And they go, yeah, well, he's only got 3 years on him. I go, what do you mean? He goes, look at how many touches he had in college. And really, you don't really think about that. But the wear and tear on some of these running backs coming out of college, um, hell, Nick Chubb, had 2 years of, serious, wear and tear on him before he ever got to the National Football League.
Yeah, I mean he's been killing it up until this point, but yeah, now you're
Mm-hmm.
starting to see the injuries obviously catch up with him
Mm-hmm.
as he's out right now. And yeah, it definitely I see what you're saying there with the wear and tear. That's interesting how scouts look at that and they're
Mm-hmm.
already pretty much putting a shelf life on you while
Right.
you're still in college, and that might be something for these players to think about. Some of these bell cow backs might not want
Mm-hmm.
to carry the ball as much if it in college, if something like that. If they knew that was going to affect their draft stock, I wonder how many of these star running backs would say, I don't want as many carries now.
I
Bring in
had
and let the
yeah,
backup get some work.
I had breakfast one day. This is a while back with one of the Miami Dolphins, chief scouts and draft guys, and that was when Ron Dane, running back at the University of Wisconsin, had just. I mean, he had 3 years at Wisconsin where he led the Big Ten in rushing. And I said, what do you think about Dane coming out of college? And are you considering? But hell no. He says that guy's gonna. He goes, he's 2 years away from being worn out. He goes, look at how many touches he's had in college. And
Yeah.
again, I didn't think about that at all. He said he's had a career. He's had a career in college. So the Giants drafted him, and he had 2 good years, and then just like the guy from the Dolphins, had said, life moved on without him. So interestingly enough, that does it is a consideration, and something that unfortunately not a lot of people seem to, as you said, some of these guys are going to say, you know what, I really, you know, it's okay if you split me up and have, if we have a couple backs in this two back formation or something from that standpoint. Because some of those teams, they don't really care. They want to win national championship. So if they need to, if you need to touch the ball 25 or 30 times a game to get me to that national championship, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because we've seen it, we've seen it before where the running back, like look at Blake Corum on Michigan. He's an
Mm-hmm.
integral part of that offense. So same with you could say the same about Bijan Robinson at Texas last year. So
Uh-huh.
these
What
these are
about,
players. Sorry, what were
yeah.
you saying?
No, I was just going to say, what about the kid? I can't remember his name now. The kid that came out of UCLA last year. I mean, he was a tremendous running back at UCLA, but Chip Kelly, ran the wheels off that kid.
Oh, yeah, I forget his name actually.
Yeah, me too. I'm sorry about that, Vance, but he'll be out of the league by the time we have to find his name. Um, but yeah, it's it is what it is. Surprisingly, that's not something they look at quarterbacks, although they do look at whether or not they've had any leg injuries or anything like that, or arm injuries. More to the leg injuries than they do from the arm injuries.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't look at these quarterbacks and say, "Oh, he got sacked 50 times. That guy's going to be like David Carr when he gets it." It's
Yeah,
just taking sacks.
right. I remember. I forget. Um, I'm trying to remember the quarterback that that had that problem, but turned out to be a decent quarterback in college. Um, I'm trying. Oh goodness. It'll come to me in a second. Oh, it was God. It was the kid from uh, the Clemson quarterback. Um, oh, a couple years ago. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Uh, there
Deshaun
was
Watson.
no, not the Deshaun Watson. No, no, no. It was anyway. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It was oh, what I'm thinking of. It was oh God. Yeah, he played for the Commanders last year. He was your quarterback. Kid from um out of one of the Virginia schools.
Taylor Heineke.
That's him. Taylor Heineke had been one of the most sacked quarterbacks in college football, and as a matter of fact, so much so that whenever um, he was asked, what did he major in after, he goes, horticulture. He goes, I study turf. He goes, most of the time that's where I found myself on a Saturday afternoon, was on my back looking down at the turf from what was going on with me. But yeah, Heineke had a great sense of humor, but not a very good long run with the Commanders. But smart kid, but
I
definitely
I always liked
someone that,
Heineke.
yeah, I thought he was a good kid. I mean, he had a great sense of humor, and you know, it was one of those things. And when he was in the game, he certainly, afforded himself quite well, because I know Ron Rivera called him because he had him in Carolina, and he said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Well, I'm getting ready to take my exams for my master's degree in business," and Rivera's talked him into coming and playing for the Commanders. I hope he took the test, because something to fall back on.
Well,
After
he's
that.
actually he's Desmond Ritter's backup right now.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, Yeah, so if Desmond Ritter ever gets injured this season, you know Taylor Heineke's coming in that game, and they have a
I,
chance. 'Cause I like
I
Heineke; he's a competent backup.
yeah, he is. And I'll tell you, I really, I gotta say, I was surprised and shame on me for underestimating Desmond Ritter. Desmond Ritter played, showed a lot. Although, ironically, the Buccaneers in that game turned the ball over. I mean, got Desmond Ritter to turn the ball over 3 times inside the red zone.
Yeah, that one was actually hilarious, where he fumbled it on the
Well, the
one
one
yard
at the
line.
1 yard line
Yeah, at first, when I first saw it, I didn't realize that the Bucks player had kind of like slapped the ball when he
punched
was
it out. Yeah,
when he
yeah,
was tackling him. Because at first it looked like Desmond Ritter did one of those where he was running to the end zone and just dropped it like a second
right.
too
Whoops.
early.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
yeah,
touchdown, and nope, touchback.
yeah, yeah. It's like no. It's like yeah. There was the
Yeah,
punch.
great play.
The punch. They were wondering whether or not the ball had hit the. Technically, the um, the pylon is the end zone. So if the ball hits the pylon, if you fumble the ball at the goal line and it hits the pylon, then it's considered a touchback and the ball goes to the 25-yard line. But yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
crazy stuff in
And
that
that
in
was
that.
actually the really that could have been the second time that happened in that game because I don't know
Yeah,
if you saw this the earlier play where I forget who the receiver was, but he was like flying through the air and he
yep.
stretched out with the one hand and he was losing it as he was stretching out. And he's so lucky that his right hand grazed out of bounds because if it didn't graze, he dropped that ball and it hit the
Oh yeah,
pylon.
yep. I saw that. It was totally crazy. It was one of those crazy but interesting games all down the row.
Yeah,
No
you're right.
question.
There's a lot of turnovers in that game. Now that I think about it.
Oh yeah, from both sides.
Yeah, because then
Yeah,
Baker had that one where there's like 4 minutes left. He was in the red zone trying to take the lead. He throws the interception, and then they get the ball back, and they end up what kicking the field goal to tie
yep,
it, I think, and then losing it in those last 40 seconds. But yeah, there was a ton of turnovers from both sides. That definitely needs to be cleaned up.
yep. No question. Hey, couple of quick things here. The New Mexico State, one of our favorites, playing Louisiana Tech tonight. That game's going to be on CBSN. For those of you interested, it's a 7 o'clock game. And Carter Blackburn and Dante Wiltner will have the call on that game. And then Liberty, who just keeps winning. Western Kentucky, that's a game you can see tonight on ESPNU. Mike Corey with the call, and Renee Igalua will be doing the color on that game. So there is some college football tonight if you are so inclined. You've got New Mexico State and at Louisiana Tech, and then Liberty at Western Carolina.
Did you know that New Mexico State is 4-1 straight up since Diego Pavia peed on the New Mexico Lobos logo?
No, no, that one that stat eluded me.
Yeah, there's your stat of the day then. All right. Diego
That is
Pavia, the New
definitely
Mexico
it.
State Aggies. 4-1 since peeing all over the Lobos logo.
Okay, so basically now we now know that what's the secret to success, having someone
Peeing
urinate on your logo. Oh man.
literally
Uh,
just go pee on your rival's logo and then you're good for the season.
Go Lobos. Yeah, exactly. You might be able to get some NIL money for that. So maybe cranberry juice or some
Yeah, I was gonna
urinary
say,
tract infection medicine.
literally what I was thinking.
What's that?
Literally what I was thinking.
Yeah,
He's the
the
new face of
ocean
urinary
spray
tract.
cranberry juice. Yes.
Uh,
Oh man. So, well, there you go. That's I was unaware. So basically, his urinating on the field has given New Mexico State bowl eligibility. So
Yeah, if they win tonight, they'll be bowl eligible. I mean, they don't have a strong schedule, so they're
right,
probably going to be bowl eligible even if they lose this game, which Vegas thinks that they're going to lose tonight because they're the dogs. So,
right.
yeah, I mean, there you go. He's a hell of a guy. Maybe it was the video that pissed him off, and he's like, well. We
Well,
can't go 2-10 with the video of me peeing on the logo. Now I need to
right.
play better.
Well, it's like brings new dimensions. The term "pissing off" a team. Yeah.
Don't say that to Pafia. He'll take it
No.
literally.
Yeah, that's right. He's be careful. So anyway, yeah, those are the games tonight. If you are so inclined. So now that we've taken the show in a whole different direction, let's go to your strong bets for today, and where can we find them, and where can folks follow you? I mean, they can do it if they just look down, scroll down, boys and girls, hit that more button, and you will have plenty of opportunity to take advantage of Amadeus's, very important stuff going on.
Yeah, so as you just said, all the links are in the description below. You can get my premium plays at bigal.com, pickadvisor.com, and theinsidersroom.com. I got 2 Champions League plays that start at 3 if you want to run to go get some afternoon action on the pitch. I'm on an 8-3-2 run in Champions League right now, 16-7-1 in all soccer leagues over the last week or so. And yeah, I got one college football play up tonight, as well as an NBA play to kick the season, or I guess tip off the season
Right.
in the NBA. But yeah, so go check that out. And like I said, there'll be plenty more NBA, college, NFL, and soccer throughout the week. So go check that out.
All right, boys and girls. Thanks for showing up. Amadeus and I will be back tomorrow. And tomorrow, my friend, barring, although it doesn't look like it here on the East Coast, and I'm not that far from Philly, I would say there's one way or another, we're going to find out who's going to be in the World Series.
Yes, we will have a World Series matchup by tomorrow, as long as
There
the
you
game's
go.
not still going by the time
Right.
we come.
Which is anything's possible. It is being
That
played
would
in
be wild.
Philadelphia. Yeah, so you never know. But
6-6 and the game's still live while we're on.
right, right. In the 42nd inning.
Yeah.
And they got 3 Philadelphia, Lehigh Valley Iron Pig players that they brought up from the minor leagues just to play to pitch their way through it. That
Literally.
was one of those kind of games. But yeah. Anyway, y'all have a good day, and we will see you come tomorrow. Be well. Take care.